Alrighty, I am capturing a screen video, and this is added context so that you can have a visual with regard to the documentation that I'm referencing and the video that I already captured. And I captured this video at, I believe it was captured at 4. Hold on a second. 4:20 p.m. I'm sorry. That's captured at 4:07 p.m. And so in this video documentation, which is on the bottom, this is video documentation that is in reference to this video that's up here. So I want to make sure that you can see it so you know what I'm in reference to. When I'm capturing, I'm speaking about the light source that's over the same building that I'm inside of right now. This is the building that I'm looking at 8:34 in the morning. And the significance of what you're looking at while I'm capturing this video today, May 18, 2024, at the same apartment complex, while I'm inside of the same apartment building, where you are looking at the light source over the same apartment building 8 hours earlier. That's an iteration showing you, again, a sample. In other words, what I mean by that is a sample. That is an example of what is ongoing maintenance of a light source. The light source is not the sun. It's not the natural environment. And that is captured. Again, I have video on May 6th, 2024, while I'm at this same property. I'm at the job. I'm documenting the state engaging in federal group stalking monitoring. Nova Contractors is group stalking. Center for Better Life, which is LA County, comes onto the grounds engaging in group stalking. And while I'm inside of apartment number 1800, North Alvarado Street, apartment number 3, I am facing my apartment building that I'm inside of right now. You can see the light source directly over my apartment building that I am inside of right now. And today at 4, after 4 p.m. in this video that I'm capturing, the light source is over the same apartment building because you're looking at it in this video that's on the bottom. This is the video showing the light source over my apartment building at 8:30 in the morning. This is capturing the specific environment because under no circumstances is the sun going to be at the same location for 8 hours, okay? And you know that it's also here beyond 8 hours because as I referenced in my documentation, the light source, as you saw yesterday, May 17th, 2024, LAPD is flying directly over my apartment. While you're looking at the light source, that is not possibly the sun. That's why I referenced it as the light source. It is the setting where the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. The specific environment, it's not the natural environment. So this is capturing under all circumstances. While you're looking at the top, this is the video showing you the specific environment, the light source as a matter of duration of time. 8:30 in the morning, it's over my apartment building. You can include what you saw yesterday after 6 p.m. And the entity is group stalking by helicopter. That's a hallmark. In the specific environment, the state is group stalking using helicopters in the state of California. This is how these corrupt law enforcement agencies are group stalking. I don't know how they're group stalking using the corrupt law enforcement agencies in another state. Okay, that may or may not have the same resources that the demons of the corrupt law enforcement agencies in California have. I don't know if they have helicopters, but the entity in California, the entity is specifically utilizing helicopters to engage in the criminal elements of monitoring, where these demon-possessed agencies are specifically using those resources for engaging in the criminal elements of group stalking. Okay, so this is the significance of the video that's on the top at 8:34. I'm at the same address, the same property at 4. I'm capturing this video after 4 p.m. And that's what I'm referencing. But I'm doing a screen recording so that you can see what I'm talking about when I'm saying you're looking at the sun over the apartment building. And today I'm capturing video outside of my window of that apartment building that you see at 8:30 in the morning. And that's an 8-hour difference. That's not the sun. The sun is not staying over the same location for 8 hours or for 11 hours. Like I'm showing you where the sunrise and the sunsets at the same address, okay? This is giving a very vivid illustration while it's remaining literally over the same apartment building, and that's necessarily the case for me to capture it at 8:30 in the morning and for me to capture it while I'm at that same inside of that apartment building after 4 p.m. And this is also juxtaposed with on this day in 2018, on this day, May 18, 2022, I'm inside of the Upham Public Library, okay? So that's what I'm referencing. I will show you the light source so that you can see, first of all, the light activity while I'm inside of building 1803. It's the exact same pattern of the impossible light activity inside of my apartment. You're looking down here on the bottom. This is the engineered light with the pattern of the blinds above my head, and then the engineered light with the pattern of the blinds that are appearing on the at a downward trajectory, appearing on the wall and then spreading across the floor, so you can see it spreading across my bed. I'll show you that. At a downward trajectory, in other words. Right before I open the window. ceiling, appearing and disappearing on the walls. There's no vantage point where the sun that's above us is. I don't know if you saw that. It's on the black. It has nothing to do. It's under my finger. I'm pointing at it, but this is engineer light that's appearing. The pattern of the blinds are appearing on the bedspread. Okay, so that's engineer light that's appearing above my head, engineer light appearing on the ground. Okay, so this is all manner of what is engineer light shooting like a laser at all directions, up and below, inside. This is the method of engineer light, the shape of the window on the ground, on the carpet, and it's also above my head, which you'll see. So I want you to see this is the stalking with engineer light. It's not sunlight. This is engineer light, first of all, and then you're going to see the light source that's above the same apartment building that I'm inside of right now after 4 p.m. All right, this is the light source. Hits the surface. The shape of that surface hits the ground to the inside of the building. That's impossible light activity. That's stalking in the path with light. 9DKF194. They're affiliated with what are the group stalkers Roger and Lisa Chu of 1808 number 6, also documented and engaged in. Exhibit A. This is the light source that's all right, so this is what's going on. This is the shape of the window and the engineer light. The light is going upwards and the light is also going downwards, the shape of the window on the carpet. That's not sunlight. The sun is above us, downward trajectory of light. There is with regard to natural light, none of this light activity is actually going to be present. This engineer light is engaging in creating the shape of whatever the engineer light touches. So it will create the shape of the window. Now, if the light source is in the position where there are trees that are in the direction, by the way, that's speaking to what is a low hovering light source as opposed to the sun, but nonetheless, also the fact that the light source is here as a matter of duration of time, as I'm showing you these two videos, an 8-hour duration of time over the same apartment building. That's the P.O.C. But nonetheless, where the position of the light source is such that trees are in the path, you will see that those trees on that shape of that window, that's everything that the engineer light touches, it creates the shape of that. That's impossible, okay? Because while the tree is not inside of the apartment, the tree is outside, for example, on the roof. That is speaking to the shadow of that tree appearing at a great distance, shooting into to appear inside of that inside of the apartment. Understand it. Think about that. Okay. The tree is on, for example, it's a tall tree and it reaches high into the sky. The light source is so low that the tree is actually, somewhere in a position where you can see the tree and it's in the face of where the light source is, for example. So the light that's shooting horizontally, the tree is in the path of the light source. The shadow of that tree is appearing at a great distance on the inside of the building. That's absolutely impossible. It's also equally impossible when you think about that. The shadow of that tree is appearing inside of the closed blinds. My blinds are closed. Those closed blinds, magnification of that light nonetheless through closed blinds at a downward trajectory in addition to what is the upward trajectory. And the lights or the shadow of those trees are appearing at a great distance. Okay. The shadow of a tree under the sun is going to be appearing on the ground. Okay, it's not going to appear inside of my apartment. Sunlight is not shooting at a horizontal angle, horizontally through surfaces. Also, the sun is above us. All right, it's not going to appear where there's a covered structure over that window or over that walkway or over that staircase. That's called the ongoing demonic objective to touch everything with engineered light. This is why you're seeing demons that are driving by buildings and engineered light moving all across the building. Sunlight does not ricochet off the side of your car when you're driving underneath the sun that's above your car. It doesn't create engineered light that shoots off the sides of the cars, okay? It doesn't shoot downward onto the asphalt either, okay? It's not dripping off of the car while you're driving the vehicle, okay? It's not streaming on the asphalt while you're moving the vehicle on the ground. None of that is sunlight. It's all engineered light. It's the evidence of group stalking. It's impossible light activity. You are literally looking at demonic activity. It is the evidence of an entity that's engaged in a very secret system. It lets you know that, first of all, that's a demon. It's a malicious actor that's engaging in what is group stalking on behalf of a corrupt government. And you have seen the iteration of that over and over again. This is the light activity that's occurring inside of this apartment, 1803. While you're looking at the light source outside of this window, and this is what you're seeing inside of my apartment. This is the video down here at the bottom. Inside of my apartment today, this is the light source that's the engineered light through closed blinds appearing on my bedspread. It spreads across my floor, and it's also above my head on the ceiling. Okay, the pattern of the closed blinds. Impossible light activity. Okay, and it's different patterns. This same pattern, the horizontal pattern, if you will, is appearing on the ceiling, on the floor, downward. In other words, it's the vertical closed blinds, this vertical aspect that connects that's what's appearing, not the vertical blinds pattern. Okay, that's also impossible. But the leaves on the trees appearing through what are closed blinds, as though a shadow is going to appear at a distance. That's that pattern. I've shown you my shadow appearing upright in front of me. All right, even in the shade. This is not sunlight. This is a pattern of stalking with light, okay? That's what you're recognizing. You're recognizing the patterns. So there's that. I want you to see, this is the light source on May 6, 2024, and you're looking at the light source that's remaining over the same apartment building, which is the direct evidence speaking to the demon possession, which you know as a matter of evidence, okay? The demon possessed are keeping their backs to you. They're engaging in stalking in plain sight. It requires the evidence of the criminal system that's underway, and that evidence is present in the environment that the demon possessed are in. While they don't have to talk to you, you don't have to know them. That's not what group stalking is. It's a crime committed by a community. And the environment, the crime scene, if you will, the crime scene follows you. This is how I have evidence of a light source remaining over me while I'm on public transportation. Street for street and turn for turn, whatever bus route I get on at any time of day, no matter what direction I'm going. And that's already evidence that I have. As I remain at one address, it's the same thing. The impossibility that the sun will be present all day long at that one address as I go nowhere. It's equally impossible, showing the ongoing pattern of remaining with the environment. Okay, that's what this is evidence of. And you're seeing this impossible light. This is the pattern. This is what you see inside of my apartment. This is what's going on inside of the apartment at 8:34 in the morning. And then you have the light source that's outside. Coming through the window. And they're engaging in what is a sex offense right now as the entities. So with speaker companies. I'm documenting right now, this is Center for Better Life, who's engaged in the same criminal conduct that you saw Access engaging in yesterday. Okay. Center for Better Life is doing it under the light source, which is no form. It's not any explanation for the engineered light that moves all across the apartment building while they're driving the car. In addition to what is the maintenance of it's not even the sun, because the documentation already suggests that there's no sun possibly over Alvarado Gardens, not only because the sun's not going to be at the same address all day long, but the documentation of what's supposedly the sun in an entirely different region. The two cannot be happening at the same time. Therein lies the prosecution for a public entity engaged in group stalking. Okay, so you have what is this light source? So was Carla Lopez. It is currently, P.O.C. is currently 8:37 p.m. a.m. And I want you to understand, while I'm prosecuting and documenting, while you're learning about law enforcement agencies, it does not work in the specific environment amongst ongoing documentation. A psychopath and a sex offender, that's a group stalker, then appearing and wanting to maintain a sense of normalcy. You are. And remember, what is a sex offense by the entity? The entity that's keeping you under surveillance inside of your private space is going to be prosecuted for a sex offense committed by a whole entity, a government, a population, literally, that's invading your privacy together, engaged in federal stalking on the video of the internet, your all conversations that you have on your phone, your any information you have on your phone, where you're going on the internet, what you're looking at on the internet. If you are opening up your bank accounts, looking at your medical records, opening up whatever it is that you're saving on and ordering from Amazon Prime, the time that it's going to be delivered, where it's going to be delivered at. Everybody knows all of that information in order to keep you under surveillance. Everybody is engaged in the criminal act on behalf of a corrupt government. Everybody that speaks and acts is speaking and acting on behalf of that corrupt government. Everybody that's living and working and arriving and crossing path at the specific environment is present and living and acting and working on behalf of that corrupt government, not as an individual. All right. And so this is state action. This is a specific environment which is establishing the state's criminal conduct, and it is also demonstrated through the hallmark establishing the prima facie in the specific environment in California. The entity is stalking by helicopter, and that's exactly what the LAPD is engaging in the specific environment here, where there is no sun that will be over the same apartment building at 8:34 in the morning and still present as I'm capturing on this video after 4 p.m. Never forgetting the evidence, and you're also acting in conformity to a psychopath, ticking time bomb, psychopath, and you're under document Nova contract. Okay, this is the light source that's over the same apartment. This is my apartment building 1808 connected to building 1806. I'm inside of 1806, and I'm talking about this right here. Hold on. Engaging in what is a matter of public corruption in the state of California, but this is occurring outside. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna start again. That is the light source that you see directly above that building. I'm inside of that building right now. Okay. Common sense, this is not the sun, but we're going to analyze. The entity is engaging in a demonic imitation of the natural environment, and you can easily analyze and we can reason together. There's no sun that's going to be over a structure that is at any time of day going to create light on my ceiling like you see down here. This light source does not create light activity. The sun does not create light activity inside of your apartment on your ceiling and also on the floor at both trajectory, at an upward and a downward trajectory. That's not sunlight, and that's not occurring from the presence of the sun. Also, the sun is not going to be present like you see here at 8:34 in the morning. This is what I'm in reference to, and what I'm capturing in this video, which is again captured so that you can all see it together. This video is captured at 4:07 and it ends at 4:20. This is not the sun from 8:34 in the morning over the building. And this is the same property that I'm at. Okay. I'm inside of this apartment building that you're looking at on the top. I'm inside of that apartment building right now in this video. And you're looking at the light source that's over me through this window as I'm showing you outside of this window. That is speaking to the pattern of conduct by virtue of what is the duration of time. So let me see. Okay, I just wanted you to see up close so that you can see. This is 4:07 to 4:20 p.m. I am inside of the apartment building that you're looking at the top. At 8:34 in the morning, the light source, which is not possibly the sun, is remaining over the same property by virtue of analyzing and documenting a duration of time analysis is what this is. This is speaking to the pattern of conduct and not the natural environment. And in addition to what I was stating, the entity that is monitoring documentation, the entity that is that is being surrounded with evidence of its demon possession, which the world is going to learn and recognize and know based on actually tangible evidence that you can see and hear. Also, you are able to understand the entity's malicious and psychotic endeavor. Okay. Wanting to deceive, you are no longer capable of being deceived, because no matter how consistent an impossible occurrence happens, it will never make it a natural occurrence. Recognizing the demonic is recognizing the scientific impossibility of that environment that surrounds you. Paying attention, in other words, to amplification. You're looking at how far that helicopter is. You're looking at how far that airplane is. You're remembering how far the train is from you, and yet it's amplified wherever you're at. You're recognizing what is targeting through the audible activity. You're looking at the light source, which is evidence of targeting on its face. Where there's targeting through the environment, group stalking is underway. The only entity that is group stalking is a demon-possessed entity, and that's a government system. All of that is reasonably following from the evidence of the environment. And that is also evidence that the world can know. You can put that in your pocket. You can write it down so you are aware of demon possession, of what is the demonic that is surrounding you. All right. And this is obviously something that someone needs to know. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. But this is recognized through the environment, and the demon possessed, the demonic environment seeks to be very highly deceptive. And so what I've captured is the entity engaging in, not only because they're obsessively stalking me. Okay. You're talking about demon possession. This is speaking to a public safety concern. This is why they're going into mental facilities. This is why they are going to be put away in cells in federal prison, because that obsession is a threat to your life. You're talking about a whole population that's let loose and engaging in terrorizing the country. Okay. Where that condition is known, it's made public, and they're just openly engaging in this. And you're looking at the personality defect. A sex offending demon possessed group stalker is a psychopath that engages in more violence, engages in more aggression while you are exposing it. That's exactly what the entity's demonstrating. As I continuously document what is impossible under all circumstances, over and over and over again, it's equally impossible. It will never make it impossible. It will never make it the natural environment. It will never make it natural, because the demonic continuously occurs. And that's what I'm capturing when you're looking at impossible light activity on the ceiling. I shouldn't have to spell this out, but I will go ahead and spell that out for you anyway. Light on the ceiling is never naturally occurring. It is also impossible because the sun that you're looking at above the building, it is not possible that sunlight resulting from the sun that's over the building is creating light that's bouncing downward into the windows horizontally and then shooting upward and downward into the rooms, into the apartment, creating different patterns through the same window, the same blinds at that. Different patterns, the horizontal pattern on the ceiling, the vertical pattern at a downward trajectory, magnified in size, shooting a shadow at a distance into horizontally through the blinds. That's in every way. It's demonic. It's twisted in every way. It is as twisted as the mindset of the demon possessed. It is personified through the light activity. It is absolutely impossible. Okay. The impossible is synonymous with what is demonic. Okay, so this is what follows. So this is the light source that's over me. I'm inside. I'm looking at it outside of my window, and inside of the building that you are looking at the light source over at 8:30 in the morning, 4:07 in the afternoon, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8 hours. That's impossible. That's impossible. And so is the light activity inside of my apartment, both in the morning at 8:34 on the carpet and on the ceiling inside of that apartment, creating multiple shadows, and on the ceiling and on at a downward trajectory, spreading all across the light activity is growing. All right. But the light source is not going anywhere, but the light activity inside of my apartment is growing. The light source is not going anywhere. And you know that light activity has nothing to do with the light source. You see this light activity inside of my bedroom, inside of my apartment, inside of my office, even where the light source is no explanation for it, which it isn't even when you're looking at the light source, but meaning the illusion isn't being served. You're looking at the light source and then you're supposed to be deceived such that, oh, well, that's sunlight. That's the sun. That's not what's happening. And that's not even reasonably an explanation when the light source is outside of the living room window and that same pattern that you see on my ceiling is present. Then what's the explanation? And then when you have evidence showing what is a sunrise over me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 7:30 in the morning, while you're looking at it outside of my living room window at the same time, the two are not happening at the same time. Then what's the explanation for that? You're witnessing the demonic. And the entity is engaged in the ongoing persistence with an impossible environment. And doing this every single day with this light activity will never make the demonic the natural environment. It will never make a legally relevant basis for suggesting, oh, it is naturally occurring. Oh, it's not the pattern of conduct. It's not stalking with light. None of that logically follows. This is on its face impossible light activity. And again, this is verifiable and no expert is going to get on any stand, any light expert, any NASA rocket scientist going to suggest that, first of all, that's the sun that I'm documenting, and that this is the normal behavior of light, as I'm showing you the peculiar iterations of this light activity. In addition to that, you will see the light activity as Center for Better Life, which is the same pattern. This engineer light that you're seeing inside of my apartment, that you're seeing inside of this apartment at 8:30 in the morning, when you've got an 8-hour difference between what you're looking at over my apartment building on May 6th, and I'm at after 4 p.m., it's over the same apartment building. That's capturing group stalking. Those are demons that are coming and picking up the elderly, called the Center for Better Life, engaged in group stalking. In addition, you know that because while they cross path, engineer light, this light that you see on my ceiling, this is the light that's covering all of the property outside. And it is also engineer light that's dynamic. It's moving while a group stalker is crossing path. And that's what's happening here. Impossible light moving all across the apartment building. All right, that's P.O.C. That's L.A. County engaging, coming onto the ground. It's also on the ground behind, dragging behind. So just in case, so that you can see that again. Pay attention to, it's going to be in front along the passenger side, along the wall. You'll see rich concentrated light moving as the vehicle moves, because supposedly sunlight ricochets off of the passenger side of vehicles and driver side of vehicles when they're driving into the property, passenger side of vehicles when they're exiting the property, while the light source is over the property, and the evidence of the light source being over the Upland Public Library at the same exact time, which would not be over the parking lot. It's not the sun that would still be here over my window at 4:30 in the evening. That's capturing the P.O.C. And this engineer light that's on my ceiling down here, what you see here, this is the pattern of stalking with light. So while I'm inside of my private space, this is how a demon-possessed entity is maintaining that environment around me. This is evidence of what is an ongoing sex offense that a government shall be prosecuted for, okay? And every single last person of the state, Lucy Santos, is going to be prosecuted as a violent sex offender, group stalking on behalf of the state of California, living at a crime scene, providing an intolerable level of criminal facilitation, period. Okay, that's why you have the impossible occurring through those that aren't even affiliated with the property. Any and everybody can come and engage in this criminal activity. It's a demon-possessed entity, a population that's engaged in surveillance together. And while I'm inside of the private space, the entity is maintaining, which is the demonic evidence of terrorism as well. It's where it's occurring, which is going to make it a prosecution for a sex offense. While a third-party group stalker, well, actually, this is a state actor, Center for Better Life. In the same way that Access is engaged in criminal monitoring, coming up and picking up an old biddy, is called light activity, audible activity, and its conduct in concert with the corrupt entity that's using helicopters, the corrupt agency LAPD, which is the state of California. Okay, doing so under the light source, doing so while covering up the light source, and the same elements of monitoring, the same three elements remain present. Okay. And this is, I want you to pay attention again. The light activity is across the building. Look toward the front of the vehicle while crossing path. It's impossible light activity. All across the apartment building. All right. That's P.O.C. That's LA County engaging. And it's also on the ground, dragging behind the vehicle while it is driving out. All right. None of that is. All right. That's called the pattern of conduct. That's no product of sunlight, nor is this a product of sunlight that's on my ceiling inside of my apartment. So I just wanted you, this is the same engineered light that is no occurrence from driving vehicles under the sun, in the same way that this is no occurrence of a sun that's over a building, in the same way that the sun is not, because there's only one, the sun is not remaining physically present over one address stationary for the duration of the day. That is to the exclusion of any other location. That means Las Vegas, Nevada doesn't get any sun. But you know that defies nature, because the sun is a constant moving gaseous ball of fire, as opposed to a hovering light source that is stationary for at least 8 hours in the day over one building. That's impossible. And then you want to look at what you're seeing on the news when you pay attention to the images and the videos captured at UC Irvine, where organizing is underway. And you will see an image just like I saw on Wednesday afternoon of the light source hovering over a building at UC Irvine. That's not the light source that's remaining present at any time. You can document what I have here last week. And what they captured on Wednesday, it's not possibly the sun. There's only one. Okay. And so this is surrounding, if that's the natural environment. Let me be clear. The cloudy day, and I put that in air quotes because this is the demonic control of the environment. It's not the natural environment. So the cloudy day is no excuse for so that does not mean that the sun's disappearing here and that it's going to hop and be present at UC Irvine. That's not how the natural environment works either. Okay, covering up the light source is under no circumstances deviating from the same ongoing pattern of conduct while the entity is maintaining the elements through the people of the state and the state. They make those demons engage in creating light activity, audible activity, and relevant positioning in the absence of the appearance of that light source, while the engineer environment is always present. In addition to that, covering up the light source over me because a demonic and malicious corrupt government is aware of the ways in which it's being exposed through the demonic environment that surrounds. That is under no circumstances for creating any removal from the evidence that already exists, nor is it creating any excuse for what is equally impossible while you're looking at it over any building in Irvine. Okay? UC Irvine. Just giving you an example, because it's also not going to be present over the Upland Public Library, which is where I was at today in 2018. So let me show you that real quick, and then I'm going to stop this video. But this is what I was in reference to on my video below while I'm referencing the images that you can see, the light source and whatnot. But it wasn't a screen recording, so I'm going to do a screen recording, and this is what you can reference with regard to what I'm talking to. So on this day in 2022, I went to the Upland Public Library, and I'm there at 10:18 in the morning. Upland Public Library engaged in criminal summoning. It's also the Upland City Hall that's engaged in criminal summoning. This is the light source that is not possibly the sun. It is remaining directly over me. That's the pattern. It's in its zenith over my head. All right. And this is where I remain for the duration of the day. This is the entity that's engaging in a criminal system at the Upland Public Library. Well into the afternoon, the sun that's a constant moving gaseous ball of fire is not going to be over the roof of the same library for the duration of the day. This is the provision of the specific environment where group stalking is ceaselessly underway. And it's a malicious system where the people of the state are carrying on, going about that you don't need to know. You don't need to talk to them. You don't have to know their name. They are present. And let me be clear, the demons that are on this entity, they know you. They recognize you, and they are targeting you through their activity creation with simultaneity to what I say and do and what I do on a communication device. It is demonic activity. Okay. This is the light source at 2:25 p.m. over that library where I remain today in 2022. There's no sun that's going to be over my apartment building like you see today as I'm capturing it during the 4 o'clock hour. The entity maintained a light source. And if that's a natural environment, it is nowhere over some apartment building outside of my window at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It remains there as I'm showing you through the impossible light activity after 6 p.m. And you're going to remember what the entity did yesterday, same time of year after 6 p.m. And the demon-possessed agency that's engaged in state surveillance and terrorism in the U.S., keeping an American citizen in violation of their constitutional and human rights, showing how hostile and vicious they are as a corrupt law enforcement agency, practicing a wildly demonic and demented stalking system using helicopters. That's what Dominic Choi and the LAPD are doing. Engaged in federal stalking while they're hostile, monitoring the fact that I'm getting more evidence to show you in a screen recording while they were sounding helicopter activity. Yesterday, after 6 p.m., you saw the so-called sun outside of my window, outside of this same bedroom window that I'm showing you on the bottom portion of this screen. That's not possibly the sun while it's remaining at the Upland Public Library for the duration of the day, which is the routine pattern of conduct. And that's why I documented it, because it's the P.O.C. It's not the natural environment. This is what the entity is mimicking while I'm now in Los Angeles. And you saw the entity providing evidence against, for example, Lucy Santos, who is going to federal prison. She's going to federal prison. Okay, so I want to make sure that you understand that. And this is the entity that's engaged in an ongoing POC. And this is where the entity maintained the light source on this day in 2022 above. I'm at 450 North Euclid Avenue. This is, as a matter of video documentation, 10:18 in the morning till 6:46. As I get on the bus and I go back to Ontario, these are minor children engaged in federal stalking, group stalking, maintaining communication devices, relevant positioning, while the entity maintains a light source over me. All right, as I get on the bus and I travel down the street, T-Mobile is group stalking, by the way. T-Mobile is on Euclid Avenue and Holt Boulevard. And the entity is maintaining engineered light over the museum. This is the Ontario Museum. This is the shadow of trees appearing at a distance. Okay, that's impossible light activity. But this is the amber colored light that the entity aims inside of my bedroom here in Los Angeles, as though the sunlight is at the intersection of Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue, where the sunrise is occurring as I get up at this address in the morning. In 2022, and now as I've relocated to LA, the entity is engaging in a sunrise and a sunset at the address of 1806 North Alvarado Street. This light activity is not shared with the sunset that the entity is engaging in while I am now in Los Angeles. And this is the pattern of conduct that the entity is engaging in on an ongoing basis. And it is serving the criminal, serving for prosecution of the entirety of the state. And this is also, as I'm juxtaposing just being at this same address, the entity is maintaining the light source. And this is the light source outside of my bedroom window while it's over the same apartment building at 8:30 in the morning at the same address. That duration of time, 8 hours, is capturing what is the impossible. It's capturing the stalking system, in addition to the impossible light activity that's appearing inside of my apartment in an impossible manner for purposes of what is group stalking, okay, through closed blinds, while at the same time the so-called sun is over 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. That's called the POC. And this is wildly demonic activity. Okay. And this is what I was speaking to in my video that I captured earlier, but it was not a screen recording. So I'm letting you see all of this together while the entity is maintaining a light source over me and not possibly the sun that's over the Upland Public Library. And this is not the sun here. It's the light source, a demonic system, because it's out over this same apartment building as I'm showing you this address at 8:34 on May 6, 2024. Okay. It is currently, again, 5:21 p.m. Let me go ahead and show you this light source that's still here. That is not over, for example, the, just as a means, 5:21. Let me show you the light source because there's no sun that's over the Rancho Cucamonga Victoria Gardens parking garage. All right. That's where the entity is maintaining a light source. This is the light source that's remaining here. This is where the state, Dominic Choi's LAPD, those are demons. They are waiting to be shut down. They're engaged in what is a matter of public corruption. They're engaged in state surveillance. This is domestic terrorism. They are a domestic enemy, okay? And they're engaged in criminal conduct with the public, with the community, all right? And they're doing so under a light source that's not over any parking garage in Ontario, in Rancho Cucamonga. So let me show you that, because at the same time I documented the entity maintaining a light source over me, and then I'm going to end it here. All right, on the, let's see, 5:19 p.m., I believe, is the time frame. Right now it's 5:22. That is a negligible, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. It's the same time. Same time of year, April 23rd, 2022. This is where the entity is maintaining a light source before I relocated to LA. The entity was maintaining a light source as I traveled to the Paul Bunyan Library in Rancho Cucamonga. Passing by the way, the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, where at no time were the entities keeping a light source over me from 8:30 in the morning until after 5 p.m. in the evening, setting after 6 p.m. Is there any provision for the natural environment to be that which I documented during the same time of year over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 9:42 in the morning and at 10:29 in the morning? Never is that the natural environment. There's no provision for it, but it is within the pattern of conduct of the entity that is engaged in a criminal act as a public entity, the state, any and everywhere that I go, maintaining that light source over me, revealing, first of all, the demon-possessed population that are sitting and occupying places and jobs inside of the corrupt courthouse, which is the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court. That's why that light source is over me. It's not the natural environment. And they're maintaining that environment on that same day, same time of year. I go to the Paul Bunyan Library, and I go to the Rancho Cucamonga Victoria Gardens parking garage to document state surveillance. And the same light activity that you see inside of my apartment on the ceiling, that you see all over my bedspread, this is the evidence that Lucy Santos cannot overcome. This is a system that she's engaging in. It's a 24-hour system, and she's providing intolerable facilitation while she lives at a crime scene devoted to that criminal system. And this is a system that includes any and everyone, including her, and her work schedule is legally irrelevant. This is the light source and the impossible light activity inside of a parking garage in Rancho Cucamonga, which is not the sun that's over me at the same time through the window of my bedroom at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, where the LAPD are flying circles over me 24 hours a day, flying over my apartment, engaging in what is constant invasion of privacy together as a demon-possessed entity, using helicopter activity and all manner of noise creation, while demons are together engaging in what is activity creation, while they're together keeping me under surveillance. Any move that I make, anything that I'm doing on a communication device. Okay, that's entirely psychotic, and this is what a population is doing to me together on an ongoing basis. That's exactly what Lucy Santos is engaged in, and that's why you have a light source that's not outside of my bedroom window of 1806 North Alvarado Street, and also outside directly over me in the same position at the same time at the Victoria Gardens parking garage in Rancho Cucamonga. This is what I captured on video. Serving to prosecute the entity. This is the entity that is stalking me by helicopter. It's the state of California. This is the entity that's stalking in bathrooms. It's the state of California. This is the ongoing direct evidence. It's not circumstantial. It's direct of what is terrorism. While demons are placing you under surveillance, they're monitoring with communication devices. They are engaging in all manner of what is terrorism with light. And this is also speaking to what's absolutely impossible. By the way, sunlight. So I need you to pay attention to that dynamic light. It's moving across the top of that parking garage, and I'm underneath the structure. There's light is not shooting like a laser into the depths of a parking garage above your head. Pay attention to that light activity. It's exactly what's going on while Center for Better Life is driving by me. It's the same pattern of using engineered light while you're crossing path, while keeping it plastered to my ceilings and moving it all about my wall. That's the engineered light that is necessarily maintained around me while the demons are circulating all around me, including by plane and helicopter, invading privacy and doing so, providing evidence of an ongoing perpetual sex offense that a government's going to be prosecuted for. Is not reaching horizontally into the depths, and also simultaneously you're paying attention to the pattern. It's engineered light shooting at a downward trajectory beneath me, at a downward trajectory, and also above. Impossible light activity into the depths of a parking garage, and a light source is outside, which again, sunlight's not bending underneath into structures like this, into the depths of a parking garage, creating any of that dynamic light. And it's also not possible while the light source is the sun, if that's the sun, in other words, that's not possible while the sun is outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles at the same time. Be upward above. All you're doing is paying attention to the environment. This is entirely demonic, and the people of the state all together are prosecuted as the people of there. This is demonic. This is P.O.C. This is state surveillance at what is Victoria Gardens. You've seen this before. Where did you see this? You see my shadow over there? Where have we seen it? Multiple shadows. Pay attention. This conduct at Fontana Lewis Library. While I'm inside of that library showing you what's the fake sun through that window of that library, well, here it is right here at Victoria Gardens. All right, that is again at 5:19 p.m. The entity is maintaining a light source here over me, which is not shared with what you are looking at outside of my, this is not the same sky space that is over the parking garage in Rancho Cucamonga. The sun is also not going to be over the same apartment building that is present over me as a matter of documentation on May 6, 2024 at 8:30 in the morning. But you are looking at the pattern of stalking with engineered light above my head and beneath this trajectory of light that's surrounding, in other words. It's also that which is coexisting with group stalking and crossing a path, while a state actor such as Center for Better Life demonstrating what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis, crossing path in this specific environment, and it includes what is dynamic engineered light moving all across the walls, which is the pattern of conduct. Okay, let me give you one more example. You've seen a pattern amongst the entity that's acting. It's an unmistakable presence because it's unnatural to ever occur, but it's occurring on an ongoing basis, and this is what the demon that is operating a universal waste vehicle is demonstrating. Relevant position as well. All right, this is the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. They are engaging in monitoring in the private space as well. By the way, the light source is visible through the window of this vehicle. It's right behind me. You can see it as you pay attention. There it is. You can see that. Hold on. Space as well. So you can make sure that you can see it. There is the light source right there. It's right over me. What my back is to that, my back is to the light source. It's right here. And I want to be clear. I'm standing in the same parking lot at the same property, 9 o'clock to what is 5:28 right now. The light source is over the same property, not the natural environment. This is called stalking with light. This is evidence against an entire population. All of traffic, all of the neighboring properties are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That's why the unnatural environment is here. Not only is that an unnatural environment, as I'm showing you a light source, and you're looking at the engineered light that's inside of my apartment. This is speaking to what is a massive sex offense by a population that's keeping an American citizen under surveillance. That's the significance of that engineered light, that pattern of that engineered light, what I'm showing you while I'm outside. This and the light source remains over. Those are distinct methods of maintaining the environment that's surrounding. This is speaking to what is under no circumstances the natural environment. That duration of time analysis is also revealed here. 9 o'clock till 5:30, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 8 hours. That is not the natural environment. You're looking literally, this is the building right here. This is the building. This building over here is the building that I'm inside of to the right. This building right over here to the right. That's the building that I'm inside of right now. You're seeing the light source over that building at 8:30 in the morning. The light source is right now over this building right here. This is speaking to the purported sunset, and I'm at the same property at it's 5:30 right now. That's speaking to the pattern of conduct. This is non-movement of the lights of a light source. It's not the sun. Okay? And then you're also paying attention to the pattern with engineered light. State and LAPD. That is the impossible. Okay, so that's speaking to what is a demon. This is demonic activity. Group stalking is demonic activity, and demons are occupying law enforcement agencies, sheriff's departments, courthouses, mental facilities where the entity is engaged in criminal defamation that is serving the criminal purpose of this system in order to conceal and obstruct justice, not serving for not serving for any legitimate purpose. They are engaged in group stalking where the specific environment, as I've documented, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, a facilitating venue replete with engineered light and the light source, serving to criminally defame, defamation of a criminal nature, serving to obstruct justice, silence and discard the targeted individual. Okay, it's not defamation of a pecuniary degree like civil defamation. This is defamation that's of a criminal nature. The government that's monitoring you seeks to defame you and silence you while they are targeting you through unheard of, highly demented manners, which are on its face, even as you try to articulate it, is supposed to falsely depict that target individual when you're reporting it to the entity. There's no hospital, there's no exception. The entity that the ordinary target individual would report it to it's designed to result in falsely depicting that targeted individual as suffering from a mental incapacity. That's also why they're going to federal prison. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they're engaged in this act of terrorism, coming onto the grounds, engaging in the criminal elements, monitoring with the state and LAPD. That is the impossible light moving across the building while TIM is in... Okay, that's the ongoing pattern. You're looking at Center for Better Life, and you're looking for Universal Waste. These are two separate companies, all right? That's LA County. This Universal Waste is a third party. You're looking at what is impossible under all circumstances. Driving under the sun does not result in what is a light shooting like a ricochet, magnified in size, or concentrated in color, moving across a building, ricocheting off the side of your car or off of any object. That's not sunlight, nor is this possibly the sun by duration of time analysis and by virtue of the documentation. The entity is maintaining a light source over me at the Upland Public Library today in 2018. And this is the same time of year. It's relevant to what I documented on this day, April 29th. Even on this day, on April 29th, 2022, I documented at 9 o'clock in the morning, I am en route to the Fontana Lewis Library, which I heavily documented for purposes of prosecuting the state of California. And it's not even possibly the sun, nor is that sunlight. It is the same exact pattern, however, of federal group stalking and monitoring, which includes the presence of engineered light, the maintenance of a light source, which is surrounding me and in a specific environment where group stalking by those that are of a specific and non-physical condition, the demon possessed, are engaging in what is very secretive methods of stalking you, and it's very malicious. It's a government system, and it shall result in what is federal imprisonment, disbanding, mental examinations, mental facilities for those where it's warranted. You're going to remove minor children from the custody of the people of the state and the state actors. You're going to permeate the lives of these corrupt law enforcement agencies. You're going to remove their weapons from them. You're certainly going to remove them from law enforcement. Okay? They will be published as group stalkers. Companies are going to be faced to civil and criminal prosecution. All right? For engaging in and facilitating the state's criminal system. And you know that. They're driving commercial vehicles. They're engaging in what is impossible with regard to their conduct in the environment. That's not naturally happening ever. They can do it 77 times. It will never become the natural environment or a natural occurrence. It is demonic behavior. serving for what is an admission of stalking by an entity that's underway. It is done in concert with the corrupt law enforcement agency that is always stalking in helicopters, which is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis, as the LAPD has provided a wealth of documentation that it is directly engaging in. Okay. It is currently 5:33 p.m. and this is P.O.C.